Hey, I'm Chris from Novation, and I'm here with the guys at GetintheMix in Colchester, and we're going to have a good look at the Launchkey Mini. Now, last year, Novation released the Launchkey range of keyboards. These are the full-size keyboards, and provide a really nice, affordable controller keyboard that let you take control of your DAW software. This is the 25-note version, and you can see here I've got 16 pads and 8 knobs. I've also got a fader here as well. On the larger versions, the 49-note and the 61-note, I actually have 9 faders, and they're perfect for controlling things like mixer volumes and that sort of thing. The knobs on the top panel here allow you to take control of all your parameters of your effects and instruments and all that sort of stuff. And the pads at the bottom here, velocity sensitive, allow you to do things like finger drumming and also launching clips in Ableton and that kind of stuff. We've also got our transport controls here as well. But just towards the end of last year, we also released the Launchkey Mini. And it's essentially the same keyboard, but just in a much smaller format. Now this makes it perfect, ideal for being able to stick it into the laptop bag and take it wherever you're going. And you've instantly got a little keyboard with all the same sorts of controls on the top here that you can start to make music with wherever you are. So this Launchkey Mini, we've got 25 notes, and these are small format keys. These are mini keys. But again, this is a great way of saving space, so being able to put it into your laptop bag and take it around with you. We have the same 16 velocity sensitive pads, and also now we have low profile knobs on the top panel. The low profile makes it very easy to actually slip in and out of your laptop bag, so a bit of thought has gone into the design of this thing. So what else do we have? Well, you'll see here I've got some pads that are lit on the Launchkey Mini, and at the moment I've got my In Control button lit. Now, In Control is a clever method of being able to automatically control your DAW software. With Ableton, we can use the knobs to take control of our parameters, as we'll see in a little bit, but also when we're in control mode, these pads actually act very similarly to the Launchpad that Novation produced as well. So these lit buttons at the top here represent clips within our DAW, in this instance Ableton, and I'm able to launch and trigger these clips directly from the keyboard. So if I just press the top one here, we'll just wait for a second. There we go, we've got the beat triggered, no problem. Add another clip, and another clip. Now if I want to stop them, I can just press the lower button as well, and that will then obviously stop that particular clip. So we've got an instant access to starting and stopping our clips. As I mentioned, the top row of knobs on here will also allow us to take control of the parameters of the devices that we're working with. So for example, if I go to my keys track over here, this piano track here, and if I just click on the auto filter, you'll see now that I'm instantly, without having to do any mapping myself, I'm instantly able to take control of the parameters here. And let's get that back to a low pass filter, and now I can actually use this. So I can now obviously use the keyboard to play, and then use the knobs here to actually control the device. If I want to control another device, I just simply click on it here. So here I'll go into the ping pong delay, and now I've got instant control of that device as well. So it's nice and easy to work with, really straightforward. So that's with In Control turned on. Now if I take In Control off, okay, now I can assign whatever I like to these knobs on the top panel. And I can do that by MIDI mapping in Ableton, very straightforward. So Command and M, I go into MIDI map mode. I click on the parameter that I want to assign. In this instance, I'm going to assign Send A on track 1 to this knob. So then I move that, and you can see on the screen there it said, okay, that knob is now going to control this parameter. Come out of MIDI map mode. Make sure In Control is off, and now we've got instant control over that particular parameter, that device. Now the interesting thing about the Launchkey is that we have 16 times the amount of knobs on the top panel here. And we do that by going to a different MIDI channel. So, for example, let's say I want to now control Send B from that same knob. We can do this with Launch Control. If I hold the In Control button down, And now you'll see that this first pad is lit. If I move to this pad here, I'm now on MIDI channel 2. So now, if I move this, you'll see that send A is not actually reacting. So let's go back into MIDI map, click on send B, and move this control here. Come out of MIDI map mode again, taking control off, and now the same knob is controlling send B. But if I want to control send A, I hold down the in control button, go back to MIDI channel 1, and now the same knob is controlling send A. So even though we have 8 knobs on the top of the launch key, we can actually times that by 16, which gives us a huge amount of control from this small controller. So on the Launchkey Mini, we also have 16 velocity sensitive pads, and we can use these in a couple of different ways. If I have my in control button turned on, and I'm connected to Ableton, what we have now is like a small launchpad type device. I can trigger clips from the top row of buttons and then stop them from the bottom row. If I want to launch a whole scene, I can press the circle at the end. If I want to stop everything immediately, I can press the stop button at the end of the bottom row. If I need to access different clips within Ableton, I can use the up and down arrows here to navigate to where I need to be. So for example, here we'll go down to this row, and now I can trigger these samples. Move up, and then trigger some more. Finally, if I need to move around the tracks, I can use the track button here to actually access the different tracks that we have available to us within our session. So as I mentioned, we have a couple of different ways of working with the velocity sensitive pads on the Launchkey Mini. If I take in control off, these now become velocity sensitive drum pads and allow me to perform maybe any drum sounds or any samples that I might have put into a drum rack or an impulse drum sampler. So what we can do with this now is if I go back to in control, I'm going to just trigger this first channel. And now on the drum rack channel, I'm going to create an empty clip. So this is just going to be 2 bars. So I'll just take that off now. We've now got the empty container. And if I make sure that I'm in overdub mode, which is up at the top of Ableton, and take in control off and start to record in. So that's the Launchkey Mini. As I say, we've got 25 fantastic feeling mini keys, 16 velocity sensitive pads, 8 knobs on the top panel, but of course remember if you have your MIDI channel settings as well, you can use a lot more control with Launchkey. Our track select buttons here, octave up and down for the keyboard, up and down arrows to select within Ableton the clip that we want to use, and the circle buttons which will launch whole rows and stop whole rows of clips. It's completely bus powered, so there's no extra power supply required, just a USB socket to plug into the side here. And on the other side we also have a Kensington lock, so if you do need to keep this safe and secure while you're working, you can use a K-lock, no problem. So there we have the Launchkey Mini. If you'd like some more information about Launchkey, have a look at GetintheMix.com or have a look also at novationmusic.com, and there we are. Thanks very much for watching.